galamsey legal?
That's a rhetorical question. It's not.
It's not. Okay. Is armed robbery legal? It's not. We have people who rely on prostitution to fend for their families. We have people who rely on armed robbery, fraud, other things that go contrary to our criminal code to fend for their families. The moment you make justifications, rationalizations, and try to romanticize crime, you lose the focus. For me, my biggest disappointment on the day was the answer of the president. And David, in fact, he did say something that I want you to do because I don't want to quote him out of context. He said, and I'm quoting for you, that if it becomes necessary, you implement a state of emergency. You're a broadcaster. Just few months down the line, Leo, myself, and you, together with the wisdom who will be joining us somewhere next week to talk about their girls' thing, drove what were the reaction of the female professors and academics who went to that to Mansour to donate pass. What were their reaction? They were angry at what they saw. So if the president uses, if it becomes necessary, David, where we are at the galamsey at this fight, can anybody convince me that it is not necessary for a state of emergency? Can anybody? The Ghana Water Company has told us that we need to shut down plants. Turbidity levels have not improved. The intelligentsia of the country, UTAG, quantified the destruction of forest reserves. And the last time they did was 77 or so, equivalent to Baba Yara Sports Stadium, has been destroyed. The legendary Poku Sampene, the pathologists, have told us how babies are being birthed at these areas without vital organs. And the president says if it becomes necessary. The president is conflicted. And I just wrote the article of Erastus Asaredonko. He even talks about complicity on the part of the president. What is he talking about? The greatest of respect to the president. If it becomes necessary, you can play his words again. I'm not quoting. I just wrote it here. If it becomes necessary, can anybody tell me that where we are, it is not necessary to bring a state of emergency to fight galamsey, and that we need another necessity stage or level? It's like when you are playing a video game, the level 1, level 2. We need another level. What level again do we need to say that galamsey needs a state of emergency? It was the most disappointing. Is it that, David? And when I was listening to, when you look at the other subject here, I can clearly see he's briefed. Is it that he was not properly briefed? He is in denial himself, or he doesn't even know the situations on the ground. Because David, you see, Mahama is a communications person, and he said if it becomes necessary. That's so disappointing.
So for me, my bite and my take is this. I would say from where I sit that it's more than necessary now. He talks about the things that we have at our disposal to fight galamsey with, and that we should explore that to the latter, and that the state of emergency should be declared as the last resort. Question that I ask myself is this: all that we have done ever since he took office as president, 8 months. Let's just work with the 8 months. What positive results has he yielded for us?
None.
What results? For us to say that, okay, so gradually it gives us hope that we're going to win the fight against galamsey. All the things that we have at our disposal, as he mentions, that we are applying right now, what has he done for us? Listen, if he tells us about the blue guards and that you're going to train more blue guards, you tell us about the withdrawal of policemen because they just put on helmets, they wear jackets, they go out there and they seize champagnes or destroy or burn champagnes just like burning them sick. It tells you that all that we have at our disposal for now has not yielded the right results. Listen, people are dying. I was having a conversation with Steve Zando just after he completed the sports. He says he went to a place, I don't want to mention the name, and then chiefs are involved in galamsey. Politicians are involved in galamsey. Police officers who have mounted what they call it, roadblocks. They engage with Chinese people instead of doing what is good to help us live, drink water, eat food, and survive. They are rather taking money from these Chinese people. Chinese people can give a police officer 20,000 Ghana cedis and above. So we hear that now if you want to post a police officer, he says take me to the Manso area where the galamsey operations are. Because So we are at a stage where the state of emergency ought to be declared. And if for nothing at all, if I cast my mind back to what someone I think George said, that if we are really serious about fighting galamsey, if we are really committed to fighting galamsey, we can do this within a week or two.
Yes, he said if the president's committed.
So what has changed?
And I am also saying,
what has changed? Leo, just a few seconds. What has changed? For me, I don't want to believe that maybe the president knows some people who are benefiting from galamsey and therefore is scared to act. But if indeed the president of the Republic of Ghana wants to fight galamsey, I still will go back to what Sam Nate George said, that if the commitment is there, we would win this fight and win it simply. From where I sit right now, we need to declare that state of emergency. And he said he has to take it to Parliament because it's not something that he can sit in his office and declare. You have a 2/3 majority and more in Parliament. Take it there. They definitely approve it, and they will declare the state of emergency and win the fight against galamsey. Because from where we are sitting right now, what is facing us in the next few years, we cannot fathom.
Dave, declaring state of emergency will not do jack to this thing. I can tell you for a fact. It won't do anything. It won't change nothing. Why am I saying that? The president said there are other tools that they have at their disposal to try and stop this thing. I'm asking, have we sat down to really analyze what those tools are? Because stopping galamsey, it's not just about getting the machines and the people out of the site. It goes way beyond that. The last time, the report that you read about, over 2 million Ghanaian youth who are not in any employment, they don't have any education, and all those things. These are the same people who are working over there. We cannot turn a blind eye like Sanko for the Nisi PBB Edema or more. Whether we like it or not, we have to provide it. What is the conversation about Ghana? Growing our economy, making sure we expand employment and all of those things. I said it in the morning. As we are speaking now, whether short term or long term, we don't have any plans for that. There'll be a political talk. We both see big push. We both see one industry, one factory. We both say, and we don't see anything unless we start taking that conversation serious and actually do something. This galamsey menace will always be there, whether you like it or not.
I agree with you.
So I am saying,
I agree with you. So, I agree with you.
One after the other.
There needs to be the provision of jobs. My only departure is that we shouldn't make it seem as if they are holding us to ransom, that until there's a certain avenue, then we will keep doing an illegality.
But that's the reality.
No, I'm saying that.
Even though it's as ugly as it sounds, that is the reality.
So armed robbery should be allowed to go.
No. I think if we mix it, it's not fair. Why am I saying that? Let me. If we mix it, it's not fair. When somebody decides to rob someone, it's one person, going to take another person's property. Whether I buy or not, if you try to do that to me, I will fight back.
Hold on. Do you know that in Ghana, all the minerals under the earth is vested in the president? It is for him to protect those things for us, minerals for us. Are you aware?
But I'm entitled to them as well.
So those galamsey operators who are galamseying and making the money for them, so are you benefiting from it?
Are they not also? Are you not entitled?
Oh, are you benefiting from it?
If I'm not benefiting, it's because I'm not mining some. But are they not entitled to it?
The mineral is for all Ghanaians.
Exactly.
Not if you feel like the galamsey operators.
But they are Ghanaians.
So let me do this for you. A state of emergency is a temporary legal status declared by a government, enabling it to exercise special powers to deal with a severe immediate threat, such as a natural disaster, public health crisis, and this one falls in the public health crisis or civil unrest. Now, let me just skip this and tell you when a state of emergency is declared, what goes on. So a state of emergency is declared when there is a situation of imminent threat of widespread damage, injury, or loss of life or property. Common reasons include natural disasters, wildfires, floods, earthquakes, blah blah blah, and their health conditions. You heard Eugene say. Let me quickly just land on this. Yeah. You heard Eugene say that per our engagements with Professor Sampini, we know babies who are born with deformities. We know the challenges that people are facing. The very water we drink, the very food we eat, are all poison. They are all toxic. And you're saying that we haven't gotten to the stage where we need to declare a state of emergency. What activities that they are engaging in, what they are doing, is creating health challenges and problems for us. It's not just creating, we are faced with it right now. So what are you talking about?
David, you see, somewhere 2020, President Kufuor did occasion a few moments or months of state of emergency. We saw an improvement in the water.
We did.
When you leave the water at a point, the water itself will purify itself. When you speak to the likes of Professor Kwache, when I believe in citizen can send a message to us, who was at the Department of Physics, they will tell you how we can use zeolite and all this to go into. But that's a different conversation. You see, my disagreement or departure from Leo's argument is that in the absence of legality, we should not romanticize illegality. That's my point. That's my point. Because you see, per the logic, that's why the law, the lawyers in Latin say mutantis mutandi. Per what we are saying, then if any girl is not employed, they can do prostitution. If any boy is not employed, they can do armed robbery until 24-hour economy comes upstream and makes the thing legal for them to get legal job. They can do that job. David, I'm saying that this president promised us, signed a pact and said that and pressured the Kufuor to occasion a state of emergency. What has changed? That he, as now president, cannot occasion that state of emergency. His ministers took to social media and said that they can stop galamsey in 1 week.
Talk is cheap. Talk is cheap.
That one was a political talk.
They can stop in 1 week. And David, I believe it. He is the commander-in-chief of Ghana's armed forces. Every single soldier in this country, their major commander is the president. He has the power. And David, my most disappointing is the phrasing and the choice of words. He said, if it becomes necessary, as if as we speak now, it is not necessary to occasion a state of emergency.
To be fair, he said if it becomes necessary because he still thinks there are tools which is at the
And I'm asking for the tools are
That's what he
what results has he delivered?
I'm coming. The tools he's talking about are military intervention. We've done operation. Operation now. What has been the results of them? The results is that as we speak, Ghana is not even certain of getting water by 2030.
And the Ghana Water Company, Dr. Hansen Kuta is listening. As we speak, they cannot treat the heavy metals that are found in the water that we're
getting. They can. They don't treat it.
They don't have it.
Ghana water doesn't treat heavy metal. They only
listeners, you can speak to this matter. Ask whether you are satisfied with the answer the president gave in relation to the galamsey and of course the declaration of a state of emergency. Like I said, the phone lines are available. You will be activating the phone line shortly, but you can send in your comments and your thoughts right now to our WhatsApp number 0540-448747. Let's move on to the next one, where he was asked about power corrupting and absolute power corrupting, absolutely. And then he talks about the fact that,
Supreme Leader.
That's Supreme Leader. He says, if you look at me, he was trying to reminisce a comment passed by the former president, Atta Mills. So take a listen to what he says about having to test majority in Parliament. And that's, I think, the first one. So let's go.
Mr. President, thank you for this opportunity. We are told democracy thrives on checks and balances and separation of powers. Your party has a 2/3 majority in Parliament. The Chief Justice you came to meet has been removed, of course, under your hand, although the process was gone through. There is talk of the EC chair and the leadership, quote, not being fit for purpose by members of your party. Some people fear that these developments and others create a situation where the other arms of government are completely subservient to the executive. In fact, one newspaper expressed the fear that you could be morphing into, quote, a supreme leader, unquote. There is a maxim that power corrupts and absolute power corrupts absolutely. Should we be worried in your legacy term that the democracy you came to meet will be well oiled and that the three arms of government will work not in subservience but in unison? Thank you.
Bernard said I'm in danger of becoming a supreme leader. Look in my face. Do I look like a supreme leader? And that is to paraphrase Prof. Star. Atta Mills, do I look like a cat hunter? Do I look like a supreme leader? I'm a Democrat true and true. And even when we attained 2/3 of Parliament, I said that we're not going to use it to ride roughshod over the minority, and that we're going to give opportunity for democracy to flourish.
Leo, Supreme Leader,
Oh, I think it's a little bit far-fetched. Yeah, that's what I think. Mahama, I respect Mahama on that score. Even though he is ruling the country with a two-tier parliament, they can virtually do whatever they want. But I respect his candor. He's a very level-headed man, and I'm not thinking he's a person who is going to use the opportunities that he has to, abuse powers and all of that. But concerns has to be raised and questions has to be asked. And from the way he even answered that question, I am pretty sure that we are in safe hands when it comes to these things. That's what
I think it was also coming from the place of the removal of the Chief Justice. But then for me, it was reassuring.
Let me just chip in this. So it was the removal of the Chief Justice, and then in some quarters where people are talking about some members of the NDC, they're just saying they don't have trust in the EC chair.
No, I just quote the person. He said I see You see, for me, just about 3 weeks ago, people were actually morphing the idea of a third term and everything. He dare not do that to his legacy. So he said he respect the term limits. That's about a month ago. Then he's reassured that. And David, I'm actually told that the minority is trying to seek him, and he has actually given them audience. So you may see that meeting also very soon. The man personally, dear David, there's no issue with him. Which you see the way he answered it, you can clearly see that he's not a dictator. He doesn't envisage that. Because David, for an African leader to have two-thirds majority, that is huge. In some countries, you can't trust it. But John Mahama, in his answer, for me, it was very reassuring that he is a president, and he is reassuring that he will not do some of these things. So for me, it's a very, very important point that he made, and it was a very good question and opportunity. Though he didn't answer the second part of the question, which was about the Chief Justice, the removal and what he deems fit about it and all that. Yeah.
Well, for me again, if somebody says something and then goes back to it after a while, it tells you the person meant what the person said. So when the question was asked and he says, "Oh, I've said it before, that I'm not going to use this to do so and so and so," that gave me the assurance that listen,
emphasis.
Yes, that the person knows what he's talking about. But there's another thing he said, in answer to the question, where he says, "If for nothing at all, you have to use it for good."
Yeah.
He talks about some of the constitution that we maybe wouldn't have to work on, so that we get things done well for the people of Ghana. So for me, that's what I'm looking out for. If you have 2/3 majority in parliament, and there are things that with that number you can do that will help the average Ghanaian,
including state of emergency on galamsey.
I agree with you on that one. I think that he should make use of it, because many Ghanaians, listen, when we had the elections, when the NDC lost close to 1 million or less than 1 million votes, people felt that it was embarrassing. People felt it was disgraceful to the NDC and all that. Then flip the coin now. They have about 1.5 million difference in votes in the last elections against the MPP. So that tells you, like he said in his opening remarks, Ghanaians are giving him the mandate because they want to see a change. They want to see a betterment of their lives. They want to see an improvement in their lives. They want to see Ghana do well. You understand? And so if you have this opportunity and you would abuse it, etujiwara. So for me, I like the answer he gave, and I hope and pray that he will stick to it and make do with it. Because he even talked about the fact that how well we've come, how well we're doing. We have not even gone outside to borrow and all that. And he's not even thinking about going out to borrow right now, and that we can still manage, our economy. I think those are the things that Ghanaians are looking out from him.
David, since you brought in the economy, let me do the CD. Should I?
Yeah, because he also mentioned it in there.
Yes. In June, John Mahama said something about the CD. I want to quote. I think that people miscommunicated or misunderstood his answer on the CD, where he was talking about the Bank of Ghana intervening in the markets and all that. When the IMF came down, they did indeed indicate, and the last time Professor Abdulaziz alluded to that, we pumped some 4 billion since October 2024 to now. So it's not as if it is only John Mahama's government who pumped in the 4 billion. So that is established. Now, the next point is that in June, he was quoted to have said that the true value of the city lies between 10 and 12.
Yeah.
But the BOG rate is now hovering around 12. The West level was 15.5 as we saw in February. Now we are doing about 12. It's not that bad.
It's 21.
Yes, but I also believe that it was a tacit admission of something that, for me, puts the president in what I always use as candor or canocre. You remember, David, when the Bank of Ghana's issues came up under President Akufo-Addo, they were denying ever printing money and all that. Later, there was an admission they were denying fixing the FX and all that, intervening in the FX market and all that. If I say FX, the forest market and all that. But he yesterday, and I was shocked actually when he said that. I was like, wow. Yeah, and I thought first one was not there, so I thought that maybe. But he said that when Kemeni asked the question, he said yes, we intervened in the market, and actually backed by the data said that we had to intervene because of how the first quarter. Because let's not forget the worst performance for the city this year was in February, where it was doing the 15.5. They intervened, it came to around 10. Now it's 12. And yesterday he said something that the true value of the city per him and the BOG is between 10 and 16. And they are looking at 5% depreciation per annum. Currently, the third quarter, according to Bloomberg, we are doing some 13%. That is way... Okay, so that's a quarter out of the 4 quarters. So for me, that was for me, as Leo would say, an honest answer. But we want them to also, David, do what the Guta, your friend said, Mr. Tony upon. If the 10 is 12, and it will stay 12 for 4 months,
they're able to plan.
It is better than bringing it at 10, and you cannot plan, and it's always...
So if it fluctuates, it makes it difficult for the business community to plan.
To plan.
So they can do what they have to do.
David, he even made a question, I think they skipped us, that there was about 45 billion or so that were exited to the country that were going to import into the country. The goods didn't come, and they are trying to track it. You know, the Bank of Ghana has also suspended some remitting platforms when it comes to these activities. So if it is important, how do people take money and say that we are going to bring in pen drives, for example? They come, pen drives are ma, sikana are ma. We need to know. And David, I feel that sometimes, David, when it comes to the Bank of Ghana, as almost 70 and can ye, meaning the one is for your money into a then you ask David. From the banking sector cleanup and everything, it seems to me that as a Bank of Ghana, it means can you be say? How did they ensure that people took this huge sums of money outside the country? And they have to take a new administration to investigate why the exports do not tally with the imports in terms of value. It's worrying.
So my real problem is now the dollar rate is what 12.21 at the Bank of Ghana.
Yeah.
What is the use if you go to the banks and they cannot provide you with dollars, but you have to rely on the black market?
And black market,
which this morning is 14 something.
Yeah.
Yeah, this morning the report that I'm getting is that it's now what? Let me see, 14.2.
Yeah.
Now
almost 2 cedi difference.
Yeah.
So if you need about $100,000, that's about 200.
Yeah. So how is it going to benefit the trader who is importing things from outside?
I get you.
And that's why he talks about the fact that the city will find its true value. And just to quote, he says it was undervalued. Okay, no. So there was one occasion where I said people were asking whether it will go below 10 cedis, and I said it is dropping, but it will find its true value. It was undervalued at 16 cedis, and it probably is overvalued at 10. But somewhere between there, where we have the real value of the city, and that's the president when he spoke yesterday. One other thing that caught my attention, per the questions that the media asked, and I need to say this very quickly, that I was impressed with many of the questions that was asked by the media. I was really impressed yesterday, and it tells you that, like I was saying during early morning, that we need more of such engagements with the president. There was a question on ethnic and tribal groupings on social media, where all manner of things are being said on social media, from throwing shades to insults to instigating people and encouraging people to act in certain ways that will not help this country called Ghana. And unlike the traditional media, is where we have some kind of regulation that goes on so we can regulate it. In this media space, where the president calls it, like we all know, the new media space, everybody thinks that they can do things and go scot-free. But the president talks about the fact that, listen, be mindful and guided what you do there, because your IP address on your phone can help us track you. Stanley, share the voice.
Included in the budget. The last time the GJA came to me, I mentioned to them that as for
that's not the voice I'm looking for. So it's around 10:27. If you get there, you can get that voice. Do you have it now? 10:27.
10:27.
All right. So he talks about the ethnic groupings and the social media.
GJA came to me.
Well, we'll find it and share with you. But
it's a challenge. But basically, we're saying now the National Signals Bureau has a certain system where they can be able to track the IP address of people. And then for me, when you have this grouping on social media, at first it was good. Trying to mobilize support. But now you can clearly see that it is I don't know how to couch it if you are not careful, because on radio it's like a targeted tribal identity platforms trying to project their tribe, trying to do comparisons.
So indulge me. Let's listen to the president when he was answering the question.
Okay.
So that we would understand him better, so we don't seem to be taking him out of context. Yeah.
The last time the GJA came to me, I mentioned to them that as the world changes and new technologies come, we're moving from not having just the traditional media into having what we call the new media. These are all the new social media instruments like TikTok, like Facebook, like X, and all of them. And so the traditional sense of journalists like you, most of you trained and working in media houses that have identity and can be held responsible for the information that you put out is beginning to change. We have a new crop of I'll call them neo-journalists, who anybody with a phone and a camera can report news or comment on national issues. Now the point is, who holds those people responsible? And that's what he's saying. If you go to some of the WhatsApp platforms, or you go to some of the commentaries in the TikToks and others, we have what we call hate speech, incitement to violence. Those are criminal. Despite the fact that we have removed the criminal libel laws, there are some laws that make such people accountable. Because if we don't regulate that sector, it can lead this nation to war. There are some of the incendiary statements that have been made in the Boko situation that are fueling some of what is happening there, making people hate each other and see each other as enemies. It's been the same in the Gonja Brefo thing. Some people fanning and inciting violence against each other. This falls in the ambit of the National Signals Bureau. And so the National Signals Bureau now has the technology to use your IP number and find you wherever you are. So I'm sending a signal to Ghanaians that we can find you those doing those hate speech and things. We'll use your IP number, we'll trace you. And when we trace you, we'll deal with you under the criminal code for inciting violence and disturbance of the peace. But I believe that beyond that, we must start making regulation for this new media because it's unregulated.
So the president there, and Leo, you say it's what talk?
It's F talk. Because this thing started at the backyard of you, the same politicians. These are the same people who have been fueling that thing on social media. Behind the scenes, we know. If he knows the IP address of people who do that, who are inciting people, then he should go for Kevin Taylor. This guy started these things on social media, insulting tribes openly, sometimes in your name. What have they said about it? What has NDC as a party said to distance themselves from some of the things that people like Kevin Taylor do? Now say boy be a sebi came to say all sorts of things. He was arrested.
Fancy comedy?
Fancy comedy or whatever he is.
Comedy,
the next day he was in a two and about me two. It is, you see, I should start from their own backyard. No, this one is F talk.
What's F talk?
Fan talk. Fan talk.
I wanted him to define so that someone will not miss.
No, fan talk.
But then for me,
when this guy chief,
you're not done.
Mami coming home. This man from the chief, I don't know. I don't want to mention his name, but we all know. But it's not social media. The main architect behind tribal sentiments in this country, the Doma chief. Okay. This man, John the can some basa. It's your tune for paying count. And I said, what even bothers me is say the problem between the two. Problem between which two? Material baby now. What's the problem between two? Why don't you go and tell him, put him to order? So what is he trying to tell us? Maybe